Oh, cool. My tablet just totally froze. Oh, here we go. No, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. So I want to do, let's go to AISpace.org, and I'm going to go to graph searching and download the whole Palooza and run it. Oops. And yeah, I'm going to run it and hopefully it's all good. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to go with, remember last time we did that misleading heuristic, right? So let's maximize this and let me, oops, open up sample problem, and we're going to do misleading heuristic demo, right? And I need to show the edge costs, and I need to show the node heuristics so we can see what's going on here. And I'm going to have my search options, the algorithm, I'm going to use A star. And I'm going to make sure that there is no pruning. Good. Okay, cool. So if I run this, let's see, I'm going to just go back to create for a minute and try and squidge this up just a little bit so we can see what's going on. So does anybody remember actually what happened last time when we didn't turn on any pruning and we were doing best first, right? So we were just looking at the heuristics. So we got trapped. How did we get trapped?
In a loop.
Right, exactly. We got stuck in this infinite loop, right? Because we were looking at best first, we were just looking at the heuristics. And from the point of view of this guy, the best was this 23.7, right? It was less than the 29 and the 34.2. And so, and all of these values are lower than the 29 and the 34.2. So our priority queue just kept sending us around and around and around this thing, and we never ended, right? So I'm just going to shove that over there just a little bit so that when we solve it, we have a little bit more room. Cool. Okay. So let me take a, so we're starting here, right? And that's our goal. And let's take a step. So initially we do exactly the same thing we did before. And in our priority queue, what we're doing is we are now ordering by this F value. Remember, I told you to ignore the F value before? Well, now you need to actually pay attention to the F value. What is the F value? Again, it is how much the path costs, in this case, 7.1, plus whatever the heuristic is here. So if you do the math, hopefully 30.8 is the same as 23.7 plus 7.1. Yeah, that works, right? And similarly, you know, the F value of this node is pretty big because you got to add 11.5 to 34.2. So that's at the bottom of our priority queue. That gives us 45.7. And this node isn't, you know, it's in the middle, right? It's 12 plus 29. So that gives us 41. Okay. So right now, this is still the best thing on our priority queue. So let's take a step. And so we select it. Right? Oh, I did a full step, not a fine step. Okay, fine. Let's do a fine step. So we remove this guy from the frontier, right? Because it was at the front. And we find its neighbors, right? Successors in terms of the system. This is what we were doing before, right? And then we add that path back onto our priority queue, right? But now we're ordering by F value, right? So right now the F value is still lower than any of the other F values, right? Because the path that we've taken is 7 plus 6, 7.1 plus 6.9, and then we add the 17.0 to give us 33.4, but that's still better than anybody else so far. But if we take another find step, let's see what we get. So we pull that off and we find its successors and we add the successors on. Oh, check it out. Now, because we want to know about not just how good the heuristic is, but also how far we've come, we realize, boy, you know, that path from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, that's already cost us 31.3 plus our heuristic is 15. So our total is 46.3. That stuffed us at the end of the priority queue. So let's just keep going. Let's take another find step. So now we're going to take node 10, right? This guy, because that's cheaper. So let's do a find step. We pull that off. We find its neighbors. We put it back onto the priority queue and check it out. Once we finish that, it's gone to the bottom, right? Why would we want to go that way when where our path cost is already 21.1 and the heuristic is 34.4? That's not seeming very promising, right? When we could do node 6. So now we're finally going to investigate node 6. So let's do a find step. We find its neighbors. There's 2 of them. We figure out the F values for each of them based on the heuristic and the path cost, and we add them on. And now look at this. It looks like we're back here, right? This is looking good again. So we take a find step. We find the neighbors. We figure out the F values, and we put it back in our priority queue. And all right, it's gotten shoved back to the bottom again. And so now up at the top is this path 0, 6, 7. So we take a find step. We find the neighbors. We add the paths back onto the priority queue. And now 0, 6, 7, 8, 0, 6, 7, 8 is on the priority queue. Cool, it's at the top. 8 is in fact our goal, but we don't recognize that until after we pop it off. So we pop it off and congratulations, we win.